welcome back everyone. So now in part 2 we are going to explore the central themes and the post-colonial dimensions of Jean Rhys's novel White Saga Susi. In this section we will examine the issues of racial identity, colonialism and gender oppressions, highlighting how Antoinette Cosway's Creole heritage and hybrid identity render her vulnerable within the Caribbean and European contexts. It also considers the psychological and social effects of colonial legacies, the intersections of patriarchy and power, and the alienating impact of the Caribbean environment on the characters. Through the textual analysis, the part 2 demonstrates how Rhys gives voice to historically silenced figures, critiques colonial and patriarchal systems, and positions the novel as a landmark of post-colonial text that integrates identity, displacement, and cultural memory. Let's talk about the themes. Some of the major themes are as follows. Racial identity. White Saga Susi is one of those rare novels that examines the intricacies of the individual and collective white Creole identities with reference to both their purely European and African others. We find that Antoinette, as a white Creole woman, is neither fully accepted by her European peers nor by the African Jamaicans. In most post-colonial theories, this hybrid identity would be seen as a positive thing, neither this nor that. But within the novel, this racial marking actually ends up making Antoinette's self more precarious and vulnerable. However, her precarity is not just based on race. Class plays an important role in it as well. Even though she and her mother look white, they are in some way even poorer than the black inhabitants around the state. So, the local derision by black inhabitants is not necessarily race-based. It can also be attributed to their class as poor whites. We can say that the white Creoles by the real British citizen is more based in the former's belief in the idea of a pure racial identity. Next theme is a theme of colonialism. The novel not only provides a critique of colonial culture by openly providing us knowledge, the impact of slavery on the Jamaican culture, but it also points to the way the colonial culture disrupts, destroys, and corrupts the local culture and communities. One can see the pernicious effect of colonialism in the form of Christianity that Daniel practices, the kind that makes him self-righteous, even to take his revenge by implicating Antoinette. What Daniel does, then, is an outcome of the colonial experience in which he could be conceived because of Mr. Cosway's affair with his mother, but never fully given the rights to his paternal heritage. As a microcosm, colonialism not only disrupts the local cultures and customs, but also introduces the amnesties produced by the systems itself. Women's rights is another major theme of the novel. One of the most important themes in the novel is the legal rights of the women and its impact on their lives. While in Jamaica, Antoinette enjoys the right to own property and to inherit property. By marrying a British citizen, she loses these rights. At the time of her marriage, married British women had no property rights, and the lack of rights is crucial in transforming her into the mad women in the attic. It is important to note that only after Married Women Property Act of 1882, the British women win the right to own the properties. After the themes, let's move to the analysis. The post-colonial analysis of Jean Rhys's novel White Saga Susi. It is a seminal post-colonial novel that reimagines Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre from the perspective of Bertha Mason, the so-called Mad Women in the Attic. The novel interrogates issues of colonialism, cultural displacement, racial tensions and identity, situating personal narratives within the broader context of historical and socio-political power dynamics in the Caribbean. Rhys's narrative exposes the lingering effects of European colonial domination on the Caribbean islands and their people, particularly women of mixed race and African heritage. Colonial Legacies and Power Imbalance at its core, White Sargasso Sea presents a critique of colonialism and its enduring psychological and social impact. The novel is set in Jamaica, a time when the legacies of slavery continue to shape the social hierarchies. Antoinette Cosway, the protagonist, is of Creole descent, born into a declining white plantation-owning family. Her identity is shaped by her colonial heritage and the societal tensions between the formerly enslaved black population and the white Creole. Antoinette observed the hostility around her. They say, when trouble comes, close ranks, and I see no one has come to help us. This line underscores the isolation and vulnerability experienced by white Creoles in the Caribbean, caught between the oppressed black majority and the colonial systems. Edward Rochester, who marries Antoinette, embodies colonial authority and European imperialist attitudes. He approaches Antoinette with suspicion, fear, and a desire to assert control. I hated Antoinette. I hated the way she looked at me, the way she touched me. I hated the place. I hated her family. Rochester's inability to understand or empathize with the Caribbean environment reflect the broader European colonist mindset, which seeks to dominate and impose order on what it perceives as exotic or uncivilized lands. Riss situates race as a central axis of tension. Antoinette's Creole identity marks her as other, neither fully European nor fully Caribbean, resulting in profound alienation. Her mixed heritage alienates her from both black Jamaicans and white Europeans. They say, when trouble comes, close ranks, but they do not see me. This racial and cultural hybridity exemplifies Bhabha's concept of the third space, where identity is negotiated in liminality, yet often results in marginalization. Antoinette's inability to fit neatly into colonial racial hierarchies contributes to her psychological fragmentation and eventual descent into madness. The treatment of Christophine, the Caribbean servant and Obi practitioner, further eliminates racial and cultural dynamics. Christophine is both a figure of cultural knowledge and resistance, practicing Obi as a form of spiritual and psychological autonomy. Christophine would have known what to do. She never liked the English. Through Christophine, Riss highlights the resilience of Caribbean culture despite colonial oppression, contrasting it with European attempts to suppress local traditions. The novel also critiques the intersection of colonialism and patriarchy. Antoinette's subjugation is both racialized and gendered. Rochester's control over her, culminating in her renaming as Bertha, and her confinement in Thornfield Hall, symbolizes the erasure of her identity by colonial and patriarchal forces. Antoinette's plea underscores her vulnerability. I am not used to being touched like that. I am not used to being spoken to like that. I am not used to being looked at like that. The renaming of Antoinette by Rochester is a literal and figurative act of colonial possession, reducing her identity to a European-imposed stereotype and serving her connection to the Caribbean. Riss situates the psychological alienation of her characters within the Caribbean environment. The lush, oppressive tropical setting mirrors Antoinette's inner turmoil. The heat, the decaying estates, and the wild flora reflect both colonial exploitation and the breakdown of social and familial structures. The garden was a riot of color. The smell of flowers was so strong it made me feel faint. This intertwining of landscape and psyche emphasizes how colonial history shapes not only society but also individual consciousness. White Sargasso Sea functions as a post-colonial corrective to colonial European literature, centraling marginalized voices silenced by colonial discourse. Through Antoinette's narrative, Riss interrogates the intersection of race, gender, and colonial power, revealing how historical oppression produces social and psychological fractures. The novel's critique of colonial legacies, alongside its focus on hybridity, alienation, and cultural resistance, solidified its status as a landmark work in postcolonial literature. As Homike Bhabha and Frantz Fanon will argue, Antoniette's tragic trajectory exemplifies the enduring impact of colonialism on identity formation, resistance, and cultural memory. So, White Sargasso traces Antoniette's tragic journey from innocence to madness, linking her fate to the intertwined forces of colonialism, patriarchy, and racial tension. Through multiple perspectives and a fragmented narrative, Jean Rhys exposes how Antoniette's identity is destroyed, first by her mother's madness, then by her husband's rejection, and ultimately by the oppressive systems that deny her voice and humanity. The novel reimagines Bronte's silent, mad woman as a victim of historical, cultural, and personal violence, giving her a story, a voice, and, in her final act of defiance, a kind of freedom in death. That is all for today. Thank you so much. I will see you all in the discussion forum to have more discussion on the novel White Sargasso Sea. Allah Hafiz.